So on this week's episode of Be More Super, the podcast, we've got a great, exciting guest straight from Paramount Plus's original Halo. We've got Ryan McParland. Ryan, welcome to the show, sir.
Brian, thank you so much for having me. Pleasure.
Oh, it's my pleasure, because I tell you what, I've seen the first 2 episodes, and what a show. What a show. I mean, in the US, obviously Paramount Plus is doing so well, and the content they're delivering is just astonishing. And I know in the UK, it's going to come early summer. And wow, they have got a lot to look forward to. They really have. But before we chat about your awesome character on Halo, like I normally ask, because it's a unusual time, the last 2 years, how have you coped? How have you kept positive? And how have you kept moving forwards during this pandemic?
It's a good question. I don't know, positivity, trying to, stay in the moment and not get too ahead of myself, and just try and enjoy life a little bit more, Obviously, work takes over and has taken over most of my adult life, and you forget to live a little and enjoy things and be in the moment, So I think the pandemic kind of sort of brought around a new, slightly profound appreciation of life, of the world in general,
And also, I know that you're in Canada at the moment. Have you found a table tennis partner yet, or are you still struggling? Because I know that table tennis is a fun sport of yours, and you were struggling for a while. Have you had a chance to get a partner yet?
I haven't yet. No, I haven't yet. But if you would like a game at some stage, I'd be more than happy to.
To be honest, I am so dreadful at table tennis. It's unbelievable. And I listened to an interview you did recently, and you said that you turned the table halfway up so you could play against yourself. I would still lose against myself. I'm that bad. Honestly,
I'm not great either, Brian, to be honest. But it's one of those sports that I remember going to the Irish Gael Talk, they call it, and you go for like a week or 2 weeks away from what I remember, and we went to Donegal, and I remember seeing these table tennis tables for the first time and seeing people playing them, and then there's something kind of hypnotic about it, the kind of the rhythm that you get into, and Santa Claus very kindly then got me a table a few years later, but I struggle to find partners to play with.
So, mate, do you know what? I am sure they're going to be lining up. They really are. So you're originally from Ireland, and I've got to say, Wales, delivers great singers, and Ireland delivers amazing actors. I mean, what is in the water? What is the secret? Because you've got so many amazing actors coming out of Ireland, and now yourself.
Thank you, Brian.
Why?
Why? I don't know. I can only speak about my kind of path. I had some great teachers at high school. One in particular, my English teacher called Anne O'Connor, who was, big into the arts, and had introduced me to Shakespeare and different playwrights, and the local city as well had a great program for young people every summer that was free, super accessible, and it's just a rich culture of arts and entertainment, and an absolute embarrassment of talent. So it's very exciting, not only to be a part of this show, but to be coming out of Ireland and
and representing. No, it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
absolutely, Brian.
Why acting? Why that route of a job? Why not a 9 to 5? Why not working, as a banker or something like that? I mean, why acting?
I don't really know. Someone asked me that question recently, and I mean, none of my family, are actors or of any kind of connection with entertainment or the arts or anything like that. So I'm not really sure, to be honest. My mum, bless her, pushed me to that youth drama program when I was a kid, I guess, to get me out of the house, stop playing video games, and obsessing over football. And that was kind of my introduction to it. We every summer we did a musical. I remember we did Fame, we did Back to the '80s, and then obviously at school as well. Like I said, I had some great teachers there, so I guess they kind of instilled a passion in me for the arts that has thankfully never left me.
And while growing up, I mean, who were your idols? Who really influenced your path? Who you maybe wanted to be when you were older, or wanted to, act opposite?
It's interesting. I mean, yes, for sure, some actors, but I grew up loving football as well. And, there was an incredible Brazilian footballer called Luis Nazario de Lima Ronaldo. And I used to get up every Saturday morning to watch the Gazeta program on Channel 4. And, he was kind of an icon to me, or someone that I aspired to. Which is obviously very far removed from acting. But in terms of actors, I grew up watching the likes of Marlon Brando, Daniel Day-Lewis, Joaquin Phoenix. Those are some of the actors that I fell in love with their work probably quite early on in life.
I mean, many might say that footballers are actors as well, because when they get that little bit of wind, they turn into Shakespearean actors. So I suppose looking up to them, a lot of them, you see, they're not like footballers years ago where they could get taken down, they just get back up. Do you know what I mean? Now it can be a bit of a show. It really can.
Well, you look at the likes of Maradona, and in the old matches, and even Ronaldo that I was talking about, they had serious tackles kind of put in against them, and they just got back up, and
And you know what the most embarrassing thing is when you watch the women's football, and the women's football, they are brutal. Literally, they don't go down. They are vicious. They really are. So it's quite. I think they need
definitely food divers in the modern game for sure.
Definitely. So let's talk about this awesome show, Halo, because it's been quite a few years in the making. We've seen a few sort of versions of it on our TV, in the past decade or so. And as I said earlier on, after 2 episodes, I'm literally a massive fan of 117 and the show. I just think it's so well written and so well made, and I think there's a lot of fans that are finished watching shows like The Expanse and shows like that, and this is definitely going to fill the void, and it's just spectacular. It really, really is. If you could tell the wonderful viewers and listeners a bit about the show from your point of view and who you play.
I play an original character called Adun Sally. Adun is the assistant to Dr. Catherine Halsey, played by the wonderful Natasha McElhone. Dr. Halsey created this Spartan program, and together we've been trying to understand the significance of an artifact that's kind of been unearthed early on in the season, and so working alongside Halsey and Master Chief, Aidan's trying to piece together why the Covenant has such a unique interest in this artifact.
And it's just so spectacularly shot. It really is. And I've got to say, confession time. I'm of that age where I try and play computer games, but literally, 12-year-olds beat me like continuously online multiplayer. It's literally a young person's game, and I know Halo. I'm not a die-hard fan where I know all the facts. So before taking on the role of your character, how much did you know about Halo, and did you have to quickly do a lot of research?
I mean, I do a lot of research in general, Brian. For every sort of role, I kind of work in a similar way. Halo was no different to anything I've approached before. I knew the game, had played the game, had played the original game. I have fond memories of being at friends' houses at high school and, being out in the back garden playing football, and then, being so dehydrated that everybody bundles into the house for a glass of juice, and, on went the Xbox, and it was kind of a revelation at the time. It was so popular, the game in my high school, and it was almost the only thing that a lot of us talked about was probably football and Halo, and maybe the odd football game and game on the PC, and obviously Halo Infinite as well. Big fan of it. But yeah, you approach it in the same way, and you do your research, and I'm kind of meticulous and forensic in the way in which I approach things, But just to be a part of the show alone, Brian, is an absolute honour, privilege, and a career highlight for me, certainly thus far.
I mean, how close would you say the TV show is to the game? Because you're going to get people out there that sadly will nitpick at things and not watch the show with open eyes like I do, and just look at it in awe. I mean, how close is it to the games for all the fans out there?
I think it's pretty close. I mean, it exists in its own timeline, the silver timeline, and the creators, the showrunners, the producers, the writers, the directors, they're trying to create something for television, a different medium, whilst also staying close to what is explored in the video games, what is iconic about the video games, notably Master Chief, Dr. Catherine Halsey, Cortana, the Spartan program, the Covenant forces. And really everyone was trying to create something that was an adventure, something that was epic in all proportions, and something that would hopefully draw in newcomers to the franchise, to the Halo lore, to the Halo world, but also living up hopefully to the expectations of the fans, because they care so deeply about it, and us that were making the show cared so deeply about it as well, so it's exciting.
I mean, episode 1, I've got to say, just literally blows your socks off. It starts off so well, it really does. It's like you start watching it, you're like, what? And the costumes and everything like that is just stunning. It really is. And you mentioned earlier on that your character plays opposite Natasha. I've got a picture here for everyone to see. So there you go. And what was it like acting opposite her? Because obviously fans will recognise her from so many great projects. I mean, what was it like being on set with her?
It's so surreal, Brian. I cannot stress that enough. I'd seen Natasha as a kid in many different films, especially Ronan, and her work alongside Jim Carrey as well. You know, incredible performances. So to say that I was nervous, it's probably a little bit of an understatement. But she's incredibly generous and so meticulous, and just a wonderful human being, really, to be honest. And every day I think was a learning day, working not only with Natasha, you know, working with Pablo, Schreiber. It was a real learning experience working with some of these incredible actors, you know. Yeah, very surreal.
I mean,
very surreal.
I know that you obviously can't say much about the show because a show like this, you must be signed up to so many NDAs. It's unbelievable. One, how do you keep everything secret? How good are you at it? Because it must be so difficult at times to not say stuff to family and friends. But in interviews as well, like accidentally tripping up. I mean, without obviously spoiling it, what can we look forward to with your character going forwards in the show? I mean, can you summarize in sort of a way that you're not going to get into trouble? Maybe will we see? I don't know. I mean, can you say anything? Can you give us any teasers?
I mean, Adun has a secret. He's kind of harboring a secret that is, possibly going to be explored soonish. But he is, what I can say is that he is deeply, deeply loyal to Dr. Halsey. And, he firmly believes that science can kind of pave the way towards winning the war against the Covenant. And science is very much at the forefront of his belief system. And his kind of sort of continued development and understanding of certain technologies remains his sole focus, and it is difficult having to be so secretive. For a long time I had to tell my sister's kids, who are 12 and 13, that I was shooting a film, and how they actually found out was that I had a sticker of the artifact that's unearthed, and it was on my water tank at home. And so they were filling up the water and they went, "What's that?" And they recognized it, kind of. So that's how I got caught.
That's awesome. And you got caught by kids because obviously they would naturally understand the symbols straight away, because they're like sponges. They really are. So let's travel a bit back in time. So what I wanted to know was, how was the show presented to you before auditioning, and what were your thoughts about going for it? Because one, knowing that there was a Halo show being produced or made, and what was it like going for it?
It was so secretive, Brian. I didn't really know too much about it. I had known that Steven Spielberg had been trying to get the show off the ground for years, and I knew that it had went through different versions with different directors, and I really had no concept of what the part was either. It was only when I got the part that my agent said, this is what it is, and this is what it is, and this is what's kind of going to be happening, So I would have taken Brian one line on the show, to be honest with you. The opportunity to work in something like Halo was such an incredible opportunity. Even back then when I didn't know too much about it, what the character was, and how you maybe potentially could be involved. So it's still a kind of pinch me moment. very regularly. Really, honestly,
Mm.
it's incredibly surreal
Um, um,
experience to
and was
be
it
part of.
was it a self-tape or audition, or was it an actual in-person audition?
It was an in-person audition, Brian. Yeah.
Wow.
I went to meet the incredible Otto Bathurst, who directed the first two
Mm.
episodes. And I was already a massive fan of Otto's work from the early days of Peaky Blinders to Robin Hood, his Dark Materials. I was a massive fan already, so again, I was a little nervous. But it was, it was a really special moment for me, and he's a wonderful director, and I've just the utmost respect for him for giving me the opportunity to be a part of the show.
And how did the phone call go to say that you had the role? I mean, was it a phone call? Was it an email?
Yeah, it was a phone call. I was at a coffee shop sitting on my own, um, and and my agent had emailed or text or something and said, "Look, can you call me call me quickly." So I spoke to him, and we sort of chatted for a little bit, and my heart was going ba-dum 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 ba-dum. And he said, "Look, I've some great news for you," and it was tears of joy. Really, truly was. Yeah, it was a special moment for me. Real special moment.
I bet you stood out in that coffee shop, getting that phone call. I bet people thought you were a right nutter, but
Yeah,
but
well, I
then
had to leave and I walked down the side of it. I'm pretty sure there was people looking at me as they were walking past because, I was kind of slightly animated and slightly jumping for joy. Yeah.
I bet, and obviously then it sinks in. I mean, with obviously COVID being a thing for the last 2 years. I mean, did you have a table read of the actual scripts, or did that not happen?
I think we did have a table read. Yes, it's so
Mm.
long ago now. I can't quite remember. We certainly did a table read for the kind of second half of the episodes in the first season in Budapest. Um, but um, but yeah, yeah.
Mm. I mean, you've
Can't
worked a
quite
lot
remember.
in obviously theatre, and
Yeah,
don't get me wrong, the stagecraft. I mean, they do a wonderful job with everything on stage in theatres. But
yeah,
looking at the sets of Halo, looking at what
yeah,
you're surrounded by, it is
yeah.
breathtaking. I mean, what is
It
it
is.
like going onto set with it looking like that? It must be breathtaking.
It was. Pardon me, Brian. It was just so. Again, I use the word surreal. I just couldn't believe that I was there. I come from a very small village in rural Ireland, and I dropped out of high school at 17, 18 years of age, and I started working in the theatre in Ireland, and you know, um, Halo is kind of the stuff you dream of as a kid. I remember watching Hook that Mr. Spielberg directed, and you kind of transported into this sort of faraway land, this kind of fantasy realm. And, I thought, pardon me, as a young actor, if I could ever have one line or a syllable in something like that, I'd be the happiest kid in the world. So suddenly I'd kind of realized something, and it was, yeah, very special, and felt important moment for me. Um, but the craftsmanship all across the board, Brian, was breathtaking. From the stunt team, who were out of this world, to the visual effects, to her in makeup, to the costume, to the design, to the Hungarian crew, to the crew that flew in. It really was. An incredible collaboration, and the
Mm.
talent was off the charts, really. So I feel very proud to be a part of the show. Very, very proud.
I mean, I was quite shocked because I was following the production on social media on Pablo's Instagram, and it mentioned Hungary, and I was like, what a strange place to go. It's not Hollywood, it's not Vancouver or Toronto. I mean, what was it like traveling to Hungary? Because I've never been there, but apparently it's lovely. I mean, what was it like flying out there and working in that place?
It's beautiful. Budapest. We were slightly outside Budapest, 40 minutes drive outside of the city, but it was beautiful. We've got the Danube kind of running alongside both sides, Buda and Pest, and it was beautiful. It really was. It was not too long until Christmas time in 2019 when we had started, and it was just beautiful. The kind of the misty air, and there was something slightly poetic about it. Being there, working on the show, was so strangely surreal. But Budapest is beautiful, really beautiful.
Mm. And talking about Pablo, I've got a lovely picture there of you and Pablo. I tell you what, I have been trying to get Pablo on the show since I started the show, because
Awesome.
I've been such a massive fan of him since 13 Hours, which is one of my just amazing film, and he's just amazing in it, and obviously American Gods. But you notice a height difference. I mean,
is there?
I think so. I mean, if you look at it, well, I suppose the angle. I mean,
Same height.
And I mean, what? Yeah, just a few inches. What's he like to work with? Because he seems like a cool dude. He really does.
He's remarkable. But Bryan is such a kind, generous, open, helpful, accommodating actor. It was brilliant. There was a kind of telepathy between us, a synchronicity, and it was a joy, an absolute joy, to work, like I said, not only with him, but with all the actors in the show and the directors and the creative team. It was so surreal to be in and around it, in the thick of it. But Pablo's a gem, absolute gem, and an incredible master chief, and an incredible actor as well, into the bargain. So
are we going to see you two on screen, sharing scenes together? Do you know what? Now I've just thought I'm going to put subtitles just below on your expressions.
Okay,
like
go for it.
Maybe. Who knows? No, that's awesome. And then talking about the height thing. I'm sure that in the theatre, when you have wrap parties and you have the premieres of shows, it must be incredible. But to go to LA for the premiere of Halo, how was that experience? Because that is like every actor's dream to go to LA, go to a premiere, go down the red carpet, be asked loads of questions, and hopefully get some swag. Not like the Oscars where they had £140,000 worth of swag in a bag, which I think is ridiculous. It really is. But what was that like? I know. You now you're thinking I should have gone to the Oscars. No, I mean, what was that like? The experience of going to that premiere, because it must have been surreal.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'd never been to Los Angeles, full stop. Pardon me. And so that in of itself was so strange, so beautifully surreal, and the show had been such a big part of so many of our lives, kind of, in the realm of 2 to 3 years for different people, and you live with it. It lives with you, and obviously the pandemic had, put a halt to really being able to celebrate it, really being able to enjoy those moments with everyone. So to finally see it in all its beautiful glory on the big screen in Los Angeles in a wonderful theater, was, like I said, it's the stuff you dream of as a kid, Brian. Really, never would I have thought that something like this would have been possible.
And did you like the experience of going to the premiere, being, one of the actors involved and going down the red carpet? Is it as glamorous as we see it on screen, or can it be a bit of a headache? Is there a lot of waiting about? Is it a case of, not another question,
No, I loved it. I absolutely loved it, like I said, Halo is such an incredible thing to be a part of, that, you're so happy to talk about it all day, every day, because it was a magical experience. It was that kind of, watching Hook as a kid. It was, how many years later, it was still the same type of feeling. It's still in the same kind of realm, strange things like Dolce and Gabbana, very kindly worked with me, and the incredible Linda Medvine as well, and incredible stylist, and those are such surreal things, so surreal, and you kind of almost can't believe that it's real, a thing happening, all of the above. Maybe
and obviously, when you've made it, when you get given a suit and you get given a designer. Do you know what I mean? So that must be absolutely awesome. And funny you mention Hook. I was very, very close in starring in a movie with Bob Hoskins, and it was by it was by a director called Shane Meadows.
Yes, of course, Shane Meadows is.
And he made a film called 24/7, which was based on my boxing club, and I got asked to audition. But my dad took us on holiday, and they based one of the characters on me in the movie, and
That's
I couldn't make the audition. And guess who actually played me on screen? You're going to laugh at this. James Corden.
James Corden. Okay.
And you know what? I was gutted because Bob Hoskins was always one of my favourite actors, and the fact that I lost
James
out.
James is great as well. I mean, James is great. Bob was an incredible actor, phenomenal.
Really
actor,
was
beautiful actor.
But talking about I know I was so close.
Cool.
I did a film with Samantha Morton when I was young. Called The Token King, and it had one of the actors in it that's also in Halo. He plays the character that's, I don't want to spoil it for people. Master Chief goes into this cage where they're all a bit loony. I forgot his name now.
Is it Johan? No,
it might be. Yeah, and he's actually from Nottingham, and where I'm from, and he was in that movie with me years ago.
That's amazing.
I was watching
it. I'm gonna have to watch the film, Brian. I have to watch the film.
You know what? It's a really good film. Well, the Token King is a Channel 4 film. You probably can find it on the internet, because it was exclusive for Channel 4. It was made by a German company, but it was filmed at my school, and it had Samantha Morton and him in it. It was a good film, actually.
Incredible as well.
Oh, do you know what? I got slapped by her about five times in the audition process. And looking back now, I remember being in America, and I went to the cinema to see Minority Report, and I sat there thinking, I know her. I know where do I know her from? And then the coin dropped, and
Samantha's incredible.
And then since then, my dad always says, "Well, you could have been her. You could have been at the Oscars." And I'm like, never mind.
There's still time yet, man.
Get out of it. I have literally got no energy for that. I've got 2 little girls that I think will live my dream. They're little actresses, they really, really are. But I'm looking forward to.
I think you're doing a great job.
Oh, bless you. But talking about the premiere, I found this picture, and I've got to say,
I'm gonna pull up another picture, Brian.
There you go. There you go. And the comical thing about it, it's like a school photo, because when you had school photos, you always had the tallest people at the back. and me being 6'2", I was always at the back. But how cool is that photo? It really is. And you know what? You just look so proud and so honoured to be there. And I think that's so refreshing to hear and see, because you get too many actors that literally, I think they get a bit, I don't know, big-headed, and their ego takes over. And I think that, you know, it's nice to see how humble you are for what you're doing. I think that. so refreshing. That. It really is.
My family would never let that. They would never let that happen.
Oh, sorry.
My siblings would never let that happen. Yeah.
So another question as well. Did you keep anything from the set, or did you borrow anything, should I say, which is probably the best? Are you the caretaker of anything from the show? Oh no! See, now that expression says everything.
No, I'm just trying to remember. No, I don't.
Didn't you?
I didn't. No, I don't. I have an amazing jacket, which I maybe don't want to say too much about. But I wanted the jacket. It was an incredible jacket. It's a UNSC jacket, and it's just amazing. And I love jackets. I have so many jackets, too many jackets.
So that's a good sign. That is a good sign that you haven't got anything, you see, because it was a test. Because normally these studios won't give anything out if there's a potential season 2. Because they want to hold on to things. And it was the same with the Expanse cast that I interviewed. Obviously, don't worry, I'm not going to get you into trouble. We all hope that there will be a season 2, because when there's such a great show, you know, we want to get as much out of that show as possible. So fingers crossed we do get a season 2. But did you get any freebies, any cast crew gifts from the show?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got an incredible hat, which is really cool. I got a hoodie, I think, with my character, his name on the back of it, a UNSC hoodie, Adun Sally on the back of it, and I got something else which I gifted to my nephew.
Oh, you must be the best uncle. You really must be.
Well, because... I don't know, but he's 12, and so thought it was thought he liked it. So. Yeah.
Well, hopefully he hasn't sold it to one of his mates for like £1.20.
Hopefully not.
A packet of crisps and some opal fruits or something.
Which is what you need at school. Those are the things you need in high school: a bottle of juice and
exactly
a chocolate bar or a packet of crisps.
And obviously this show, I can see, I mean, the buzz around it on the internet is incredible. It really is. And I'm seeing just positive comments, which is great and refreshing to see, because there's too many people out there that are so ready to nitpick at things in the way of the details, because like Star Trek fans and The Expanse fans and now Halo fans, they can be very passionate about the shows, and they're so ready to pick up on things and go, wait a second, that's not right. And it just annoys the hell out of me, because as you said, it's based in a different timeline, and you've got to give creative sort of license, I suppose, you know, for the vision of the actual show. Have you had any unique fan encounters yet? Have you had any, you know, anyone message you or?
Yeah, a few, but it's been so positive, you know. Anybody that's gotten in contact has been radiating positivity, which is amazing. It's we're so proud. I'm so proud to be a part of the show, and like I said, you wanted to live up to the expectations of fans, but also create something unique, um, uh, a unique adventure for newcomers to Halo as well. And that's what we've tried to do, and hopefully, hopefully we've gotten close to it. But people have been incredible, honestly, and even at the premiere, everyone was so complimentary and kind. And it's a wonderful celebration of Halo.
No, it's awesome. It really, really is, and I just can't wait for it to
Thanks, Brian.
come over to the UK as well. I really can't.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed, I'll get more cast on from the show once it comes over.
Absolutely.
To the UK. But the majority of my lovely listeners and viewers are actually state-based in America and Canada, which I think is awesome. Which it is, isn't it? I mean, I don't know why, but they must like the accent. Who knows? So obviously the last. Well, I don't know about that, but good. I do try and articulate. So the last few questions. From the back of this, have you noticed a difference in the way of offers, work? Has it opened doors that weren't open before?
Yeah, I think so. It's early doors into my character's kind of journey, and that's really exciting. A few people have been in touch, and it's exciting. You're just motivated by the work and by really incredible projects, and Halo is just such a career highlight for me, and something that I'm just so proud of. So proud to be a part of. I mean, who doesn't want to be in an epic sci-fi?
Exactly. You could be in many, but Halo has got such a fan base, which is just fantastic, and what they've done with the show is just astonishing. So what's next for you? Is it a case of you putting your feet up and enjoying that tidal wave of greatness that is Halo?
I have a film coming out when I'm not sure, and I just recently worked with, a few months ago in London, with the incredible Rosie Jones for Channel 4 on hopefully a new comedy. We're waiting to see if it's going to get the green light, and that's set in Hull, and some incredible writing and incredible performances and incredible direction. So that's what I was doing recently, going back to my comedy roots, which is something that I'm so fond of, and haven't really gotten to do that much of over the last few years. And then there are a few things that I might maybe end up doing next. What I am really enjoying is hiking at the minute. I go hiking with my Pilates instructor back in Ireland, and so whenever I'm not working, we've been enjoying doing some rock climbing and some adventures, outdoor adventures, so I'm kind of enjoying that as well. But acting is very much my life, so...
Do you know what? I'm just worn out from what you just said in the way of hiking, Pilates.
Oh yeah.
It just seems such hard work. It really does. It's like running. I don't see a point in running unless you're being chased or you're late for something. What's the point? But then that's me. that's me.
Yeah.
I'm just literally.
Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of running, and when the pandemic first happened, and we came home for a little bit all I could do really was go running. And it was really warm in Ireland as well at the time, you know, so it probably wasn't the smartest thing to be doing looking back. Yeah, it probably wasn't that clever.
You must have different weather to us then, because in the UK right now, as I look out the window, it's chucking it down with snow. And it's literally April and it's snowing really bad. And I just don't get it.
Well, it's, yeah, I mean, I went to watch a football match at the weekend in Toronto, and I think it was -1 maybe, and it was kind of snowing a little bit. And then I think a couple of days ago, I was out and about, and it was -9. Could have been -9.
Wow,
it's incredibly cold. Yeah.
But as
Ireland,
Brits,
which is cold.
we like to complain in England. When it's too hot, it's too hot. When it's too cold, it's too cold. But Ryan,
Absolutely.
you've been an absolute great guest. I've really enjoyed
Brian,
chatting
thank you so much.
with you.
Likewise.
You've got a great first name. It would be better with a B on the front, but hey.
Well, I can always change it.
Yeah, your new stage name. But you know what? I'm really looking forward to the rest of the episodes, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the hype in the UK as well around this when Paramount Plus actually comes over to the UK, because I know that it's causing a buzz. Especially around certain other shows as well. But Halo is on every Wednesday in the US on Paramount Plus. So if you're listening to this and you haven't seen it yet, please go and watch it. You won't be disappointed. It's awesome. It's fantastic, and I can't wait to see what happens with your character in the future. I really can't. Thank you so much, Ryan. You look after yourself and keep safe.
Yeah, you too, buddy. Thank you so much for having me, and a pleasure to be on your show.